Before FTX became a household name, Sam Bankman-Fried studied physics at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. After graduating, he joined the quantitative trading firm Jane Street, a world where tiny pricing differences could become enormous profits when multiplied across thousands of trades. Cryptocurrency markets were especially fragmented. Bitcoin could trade at different prices on different exchanges. Money moved slowly between platforms. Regulation varied by country, and many traders were willing to take risks that traditional financial institutions considered extreme. In 2017, Bankman-Fried co-founded Alameda Research, a cryptocurrency trading firm. The company's name sounded established and neutral. Its operations were anything but ordinary. Alameda traded across global cryptocurrency markets using borrowed money, complex positions, and a willingness to move faster than many competitors. 2 years later, Bankman-Fried helped launch FTX. The exchange offered cryptocurrency trading, derivatives, and products designed for sophisticated users. FTX grew rapidly. So did Bankman-Fried's public profile. He did not present himself as a typical billionaire. He wore shorts and t-shirts. His hair appeared deliberately unpolished. He spoke rapidly about probabilities, social responsibility, and effective altruism, a movement focused on using evidence and resources to produce as much social benefit as possible. His message was unusual. He wanted to become extremely wealthy so he could eventually give much of the money away. That idea gave his financial ambition a moral purpose, and the public embraced it. FTX purchased expensive advertising. Celebrities promoted the brand. Its logo appeared on sports arenas and major broadcasts. Bankman-Fried became a political donor and a familiar figure in Washington. He testified before Congress and publicly advocated cryptocurrency regulation. To customers, investors, and business partners, FTX appeared to be the responsible face of an unstable industry. But according to federal prosecutors, the public image concealed a very different financial structure. FTX was an exchange. Customers deposited money in cryptocurrency to trade. Alameda Research was a trading firm. It placed bets in the same markets. The relationship created an obvious conflict. An exchange should protect customer assets and treat all trading firms fairly. A trading firm seeks access, credit, and information that gives it an advantage. Bankman-Fried repeatedly suggested that Alameda did not receive improper treatment, but investigators later alleged that Alameda had privileges unavailable to normal customers. According to the Securities and Exchange Commission, FTX's software allowed customer funds to be diverted to Alameda, while Alameda received a virtually unlimited line of credit funded by FTX customers. This was the hidden center of the story. FTX appeared to be holding customer deposits safely, but prosecutors said billions of dollars were quietly moving toward Alameda. Federal investigators described software features that gave Alameda extraordinary access. The Securities and Exchange Commission alleged that Gary Wang and Nishad Singh created code allowing FTX customer assets to be diverted to Alameda. Despite public assurances about risk controls, Alameda was exempted from some liquidation protections that applied to ordinary users. It could maintain a negative balance, and its credit line could expand to enormous levels. FTX created its own digital token called FTT. Customers could use it for trading benefits and fee discounts. Alameda accumulated large amounts of FTT. The token appeared valuable because it traded on the open market, but its price depended heavily on confidence in FTX itself. That created a circular structure. FTX supported the token. Alameda held the token. The token strengthened Alameda's balance sheet, and that balance sheet helped Alameda appear capable of repaying loans. The problem was liquidity. A token may carry a high market price when only a small amount is being sold, but attempting to sell billions of dollars worth can cause the price to collapse. Alameda's reported wealth included assets that might disappear precisely when the company needed cash most. Then, in November 2022, information about Alameda's financial position became public. Confidence broke. In early November 2022, concerns spread rapidly through the cryptocurrency market. Customers began withdrawing money from FTX. The exchange faced the digital equivalent of a bank run. Under normal conditions, a properly managed exchange should be able to return customer assets on demand. FTX could not. Billions had already moved to Alameda or been spent through affiliated operations. Withdrawal requests accelerated, the platform slowed, then withdrawals stopped entirely. Bankman-Fried initially attempted to reassure customers publicly, insisting that FTX was stable and that customer assets were safe. Those assurances did not survive the week. A possible rescue by rival exchange Binance was announced, then abandoned after due diligence. On November 11, 2022, FTX, Alameda Research, and numerous affiliated companies entered bankruptcy proceedings. Bankman-Fried resigned. A company recently valued at tens of billions of dollars had collapsed almost overnight. The bankruptcy brought in new leadership. John J. Ray III, an executive known for restructuring the remains of Enron, became chief executive. His initial assessment was devastating. In a bankruptcy filing, Ray described an unprecedented breakdown of corporate controls and an absence of trustworthy financial information. FTX's structure involved numerous entities, poor record-keeping, informal communications, and limited oversight. Expenses could be approved through chat messages. Corporate and personal finances were blurred. Records were incomplete. And investigators had to determine where the money had gone across hundreds of accounts, investments, and entities. On December 12, 2022, Bahamian authorities arrested Bankman-Fried after the United States filed criminal charges. He was later extradited to New York. Federal prosecutors charged him with fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering offenses connected with FTX and Alameda. The Securities and Exchange Commission separately accused him of orchestrating a multi-year scheme to defraud FTX investors. Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty and prepared for trial. But before the jury entered the courtroom, several of his closest associates began cooperating with prosecutors. Caroline Ellison, the former chief executive of Alameda Research, Gary Wang, an FTX co-founder, and Nishad Singh, a senior engineering executive, each pleaded guilty to criminal conduct and agreed to testify. At trial, Ellison described how Alameda borrowed vast amounts from FTX. She testified that Bankman-Fried directed decisions that placed customer funds at risk. Wang described the software privileges allowing Alameda to withdraw more than it held. Singh testified about political contributions, spending, and his growing concern about the missing money. Together they gave prosecutors a detailed internal map of the operation. Bankman-Fried took the unusual step of testifying in his own defense. He admitted making mistakes and accepted that FTX lacked adequate risk management, but he denied stealing customer money or intending to commit fraud. His defense portrayed the collapse as the result of rapid growth, poor communication, market pressure, and operational failure. The argument was that FTX had been badly managed, but not deliberately criminal. Bankman-Fried suggested that he believed Alameda could repay its obligations. He pointed toward decisions made by other executives and argued that he had not understood the full size of Alameda's liability until the crisis. But prosecutors confronted him with previous statements that appeared inconsistent, statements made while Alameda's financial condition was already deteriorating. The jury had to choose between two explanations: a chaotic business that failed, or a deliberate fraud hidden inside chaos. On November 2, 2023, the jury returned its decision. Bankman-Fried was convicted on 7 criminal counts, including wire fraud, securities fraud, commodities fraud, and conspiracy. The government had persuaded jurors that the missing billions were not simply the product of carelessness. They were the result of intentional deception. On March 28, 2024, United States District Judge Lewis Kaplan sentenced Bankman-Fried to 25 years in federal prison. The court also ordered 3 years of supervised release and approximately $11 billion in forfeiture. The judge rejected the idea that rising cryptocurrency prices or later asset recovery erased the original crime. Customers were entitled to control their property when they requested it. The fact that bankruptcy professionals later recovered assets did not mean customers had freely agreed to fund Alameda's trading, investments, and spending. The confirmed record is clear. Customer money was used for trading, investments, property, political contributions, and other spending. FTX collapsed after customers attempted to withdraw funds that the company could not return. But the deeper question is how so many sophisticated investors, celebrities, regulators, and customers trusted an organization with such weak controls. Several forces worked together: fear of missing out, the belief that other respected investors had completed proper due diligence, rapid growth, high reported revenue, a founder who appeared connected to regulators, and a cryptocurrency market where unusual business practices had become normalized. Bankman-Fried's connection to effective altruism became central to his reputation. He presented wealth accumulation as a means of helping humanity. The case reveals how moral language can reduce scrutiny. People may ask fewer questions when ambition is presented as sacrifice. A good cause does not make a balance sheet accurate. A promise to donate future wealth does not protect current deposits. Reputation can encourage trust. It cannot replace verification. Technology companies often celebrate founders who appear unconventional. Weak management gets described as speed. Lack of oversight gets described as trust. Complex relationships get described as innovation. That concentration of belief made the collapse faster and more damaging. The collapse also intensified calls for clear rules governing customer asset segregation, proof of reserves, independent audits, conflicts of interest, and the relationship between exchanges and affiliated trading firms. Regulation cannot eliminate fraud entirely, but clear rules can make concealment harder and enforcement faster. FTX demonstrated what happens when speed, complexity, and jurisdictional gaps combine with concentrated control and no independent oversight watching the movement of customer funds. The size of the case is usually measured in billions, but financial losses are experienced one person at a time. Some customers used FTX for speculative trading, others stored savings there. When withdrawals stopped, all of them lost control. Financial harm can affect housing, education, retirement, relationships, and mental health. Bankruptcy distributions may compensate many approved claimants, but compensation does not erase the fear of opening an account and discovering that the money cannot be withdrawn. The collapse undermined trust beyond FTX. It affected the wider cryptocurrency industry. Companies failed, workers lost jobs, investors became more cautious, and regulators treated the entire sector with greater suspicion. Bankman-Fried lost his company, his public reputation, his freedom, and the image of moral leadership he had carefully constructed. But the phrase losing everything cannot be measured only in personal wealth. FTX customers lost access to their property, employees lost careers, investors lost money, and public trust was damaged across an entire industry. The story should not end by asking whether Bankman-Fried deserves sympathy. It should ask why he believed customer money was available for him to risk. Sam Bankman-Fried did not lose everything because cryptocurrency prices fell. He lost everything because the story he sold to the public collided with the records hidden inside his companies. FTX claimed to be safe while customer money funded Alameda. Alameda claimed to be independent while receiving extraordinary privileges. Every transfer increased the shortage. Every public reassurance pushed the truth further away. The final lesson is larger than cryptocurrency. Fraud often succeeds by borrowing the language people most want to hear. Innovation, responsibility, charity, safety, growth. The words create confidence, but only controls, transparency, and independent verification can protect money. A company can look successful until the exact moment customers ask for their money back.